No, I think I'm good. I'm good.
Yes, it looks weird, but...
And I'm not allowed out except to go to the bathroom.
I feel like my spirit is like refilled with energy by the ocean.
Hi, we're the Reading Queens, and we're here to blab about our favorite books, why we love them, and book boyfriends we wish were real. I'm so excited to be back with these ladies, or I guess all together with these ladies for the first time. But I'm ready for some fun times. I'm Valia.
I'm Joanna.
I'm Tess.
And I'm Clari.
Yeah, and we are here together to do book talk.
Yeah.
And bookish talk, or whatever.
Yeah, you can't say book talk anymore because that means something else.
Yeah, we talk about everything, technically. So I can't just call it book talk anyway.
It's true.
But yeah, how's everybody? How's life?
Pretty swell.
Good. I went on a vacation since the last time I was on here, so
Ooh,
that was
cool.
fun.
Summer vacation.
Are you going to tell us about it?
Sure. I live in Utah, and we went down to Moab, which is where all of the like big famous national parks are, like Arches and Canyonlands, and they were all packed because
Of course.
that's what people can do right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we did some kind of different things. I went mountain biking for the first time, and I crashed, and it was awesome. I was sore for like a week. And then my husband, he had been trying to talk me into, because it was our anniversary week, that's kind of the reason we went. And he had been trying to talk me into like renting a Jeep or renting like a UTV or something. And I'm like, oh, they're so pricey. I don't know if we should. And when I crashed, it kind of hurt my foot. And we were supposed to go hiking the next day. And the next day was also our anniversary. And I was just telling him, like, I don't think I'm going to be able to hike tomorrow. Like, I can bike fine, but I know it's going to be too painful. He's like, well, tomorrow's our anniversary and you can't walk. So let's rent a UTV. So we did. He sold me on it, and we had a lot of fun. And the kids had a lot of fun. So
Oh, that sounds
it was
awesome.
nice to get away for a minute.
Yeah. That sounds great.
I'm currently away. I'm in the UK visiting my family, so I'm currently in quarantine. I'm in the back bedroom, and I'm not allowed out except to go to the bathroom. Till I've stuck enough things up my nose.
Well, at least they let you that.
Yeah. Till I've stuck enough things up my nose and sent them away, and they've all come back and said that I'm clear. I'm not infectious. Then I can go and I can see all of them. So I'm still waiting, and then hopefully, at some point at the end of the week, I'll be able to go out and actually see them.
How long are you there for?
3 weeks.
Okay.
So, yeah, it should be good.
Nice.
Fun!
Well, I have no plans for vacation, and I haven't gone on vacation for a really long time. So there's my vacation update.
Yeah, I want to do a vacation in October. I want to visit one of my friends in Michigan because I want to go experience some tree colors. I know it's so weird. I have to go. I mean, I can go up north in Arizona to see real trees and stuff, but I just feel like, if I want to actually take the time away, it would just be better if I go to Michigan and visit one of my best friends and just enjoy their big trees.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
They have pretty ones up there.
They do. She always sends me pictures during that time of the year, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, these are like postcards. Like, I want to be there. Because I went a few years back, I went and visited her in like November, the end of November, I think. And so I got to see a little bit of snow because that was like the only time it didn't snow in Michigan when I was there. And we took like really cool pictures in like the woods and stuff like that. And I made her like be my photographer because, and then I took pictures of her and stuff. And it was really, really fun. But now I'm like, have all these ideas with like the October leaves and stuff. I'm like, oh, I could do so many cool pictures. I need to bring some books I can take pictures of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so we'll see.
How's the color change where you're at, Tess?
We get really good color change. We get like all the fall colors. We have lots of leafies. And I'm in Tacoma and I was in a little bit more like mountainy areas. I've lived in like Issaquah, which none of these things mean anyone if you only know Seattle. Or they don't mean anything to other people who've only been to Seattle is what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like kind of east of there, but now I live south of there, but I still am like around a lot of pretty trees. So it's really nice. And I'm by the ocean now. I'm like really close to the
Jealous.
beach. So yeah, I have a hike that's on the ocean, so I get like trees, which right now during like the hot of summer, it's really nice because we get to look at the ocean without having to stand on the beach. We take this like cliffside hike where it's in the trees, so it's like shady. It's so nice. But I just, that's like, I love being by the water, and it's been a while since I've been like, a short drive from the ocean. And it's not like the really beautiful coastal part of Washington State. It's the Puget Sound, which is a little like tamer, less like picturesque, but it's still really nice. So I love being by both the ocean and pretty color changing trees. So I have that combination right now, and I'm like stoked.
Best of both
Yeah.
worlds.
That sounds lovely. I haven't been by the water in a very long time. I
Gosh.
mean, we have a pool, so I guess I've been by the water. But
not the same.
it's not the same. Yeah. I keep thinking, I was like, this is going to be the summer that I go back to the beach. And it's like, nope, it's not happening. The summer's like almost over. Nope, not happening.
We have a lot of lakes that we like to go to, but
That's good. At least
The
have
ocean.
a lake. I feel like
Yeah.
my spirit is like refilled with energy by the ocean, and maybe it's because I'm a Scorpio that is like a water sign.
I am also
Are you? Do you feel like really
Yes.
comforted by like being able to go to like the ocean and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do.
it
I
makes
love
sense.
sitting on the beach and even the lake.
Yeah, it's so
we,
comforting.
we love to go up to Bear Lake. It's at the border of Utah and Idaho. That's like one of our favorite places. And I just love being up there.
Yeah,
So
that does
soothing.
sound nice. I am a Capricorn, so water doesn't affect me, but I get happier when I am around it, which is, I guess, weird, but it
Is
is
it
what it
Capricorn
is.
an Earth? Is that an Earth element?
I think
sign?
so, yeah.
Do you feel very nourished by like the forest? Is that why you want to see color changing trees?
I do. I really do like nature, but I like nature when it's not 120 outside. So
Like any normal person.
apparently, well, I mean, if you live in Arizona, people might not like 120, but they like enjoy it enough to go outside, and I'm like, no, this is
No.
not a thing for me. No, I do love like the woods, and I do like but I think that has more to do with my childhood than anything else, because when I was
Yeah.
younger, we lived in St. Petersburg, right? So like that's like a major city. It's kind of like the busyness of New York kind of situation. But we had friends who had a dacha, which is like a summer home kind of, that was outside of the city. And it literally is like a community of houses, just like it is here in America. Like every house neighborhood, that's what it looks like. But these were for summer houses. It's the same setup, but it was like where they had it, it was near a lake, and it was just like a walk through the woods to the lake. And it was really funny
Oh.
because I remember like walking through these woods, and these trees were like ginormous, right? And you're walking right in the middle of them, and it gets like ridiculously dark. It's like entering the Shadowfold when you get into this part, And I remember like walking through to the lake, and it's like maybe like a 10-minute walk or so. And it's like you're walking, and I'm like, are there animals in there? Something's gonna jump out at me. It was like a whole thing, like you're entering a different universe for that like 7-minute walk, and then the other 3 minutes is like you're at the lake, And it was just really fun. Like my mom would let me come out there with like my friend and stuff, and stay with her family for a little bit. And that was like my favorite part, is like the woods and then like the lake there. It's where I like got touched by a beaver once when I was in the lake. It
Oh my
freaked me out
gosh.
so bad because they would like swim around and stuff. But yeah, I think it's like more of that. And then my mom is from Ukraine, and so she grew up in a village. And so when I would go spend my summers with like my grandparents and like my aunts and uncles, like it's all nature everywhere. So it was just like, I remember I was going to like the woods to pick out blueberries or like find mushrooms and stuff. So I think it's like more that than like my sign per se.
Yeah.
But also like I haven't done any of that since I've been in America. So it's kind of like a different life almost, you know? Yeah, I don't know. Just that was like a huge tangent.
It makes sense. It makes sense though.
Yeah. You know, I like stuff like that. I think that's why I always write woods into my books.
Yeah.
Somebody's always had to be treading through the woods, going on a mission. Anyway, so speaking of books, because I will always segue into books, but I saw this kind of a game, I guess you can say, on Instagram. I believe it was at Read Write Coffee's page. This was like back in June, like the beginning of June, I think it was, or maybe it was the end of May. I can't remember. But I wrote it down because I thought it was like a really fun question game. And so it is a simple question. Can you name a book that starts with the first letter of your first or last name? And I changed it because I wanted first and last name. So also, if you've read the book that, you know, you're naming, I want to hear about it. So we're going to go around the room and talk about it because this was hard.
I've seen people do book stacks, spelling their entire name, and I kind of want to try that.
Ooh.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to try that for Instagram now.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want to try it for Instagram now too.
Okay. So Joanna.
So I'll go first.
Yeah.
So my first name is Joanna. J was kind of hard.
Okay.
But I found one. It's called Juliet Immortal by Stacy J.
Oh, yeah.
Heard of it?
I have it, actually.
Yeah, it was published several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Romeo and Juliet kind of saying that the story isn't exactly what we think the story is. That Romeo actually killed Juliet to become immortal. And by doing so, made her immortal too. And so throughout the years, they're kind of, the two of them are always kind of in this feud. So you will like this if you don't like Romeo and Juliet. But it's kind of a really fun like twist on that classic story.
Do we get a happy ending?
I think so. Yes.
I think it's a duology, right? Is there only two books?
And there's two. I've only read the first one.
Okay.
I believe there was a happy ending. Yeah. So the second one, my last name is Reader. Well, my pen name. My last name is Reader. R was a lot easier. And I actually have a bunch of books I've written with the last letter R. And there's a series that I've never actually talked about on here that I don't really talk about a whole lot, but it's the Reclaim series that I co-wrote with Jessie Booth.
Okay.
And it's the story of it. It's in the Shifter Academy universe, and vampire Leif Villers and his long-lost true love, Gemma McClough, who is a Selkie, died 100 years ago. And it's kind of their story. And it was really fun to write with Jessie. The first book goes back and forth between Leif now, in today's world, trying to figure out how to bring her back. And it switches off between journal entries from Gemma about what's happening back when they first met and fell in love while he was still a human in 1898. So...
You and that time traveling romance.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It's always like a theme. It wasn't actually time traveling.
Well, yeah,
we did a lot of back and forth. So Jessie Booth, he wrote all of the chapters from Leif's perspective, and I wrote all the ones from Gemma's. And so, yeah, those characters are near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, that's really fun. I think I only read the first book in that series, actually, now that I think about it, but I like it.
And their love story, it spans 10 books.
Wow.
So, and just those last 3 are the ones that kind of like bring the whole thing together, because they were kind of secondary characters in some of the other books that...
Yeah, I think that's so cool to just like tie all of your books together by like one couple. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I do this when it comes to the world. Like I will, I have like seasons that are set in Hawthorne, but to have like a couple of characters that's like your continuous like love story or their story, and then like at the end they get like their own everything. Like that's like such a cool idea.
Yeah. Well, and what kind of happened? So, Leif and Gemma were in my Frost series. That's the first time that you see them. And Leif is at first a human and then is turned, and that's where Gemma dies. And then Jesse wrote a standalone that takes place in the 90s of him trying to find her. And then Leif is one of the main characters in the Shifter, like, Siren Prophecy series. And we just felt like the two of them needed their story to keep going. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Cool.
Sorry, I really had to take a drink there. But Tess, you want to talk about your books now?
Yeah, okay. So for tea, my first name is Tess. Longwise, if you ever look up my books, it's Tessonja. That's my full name. I go by my full name in my author name. But it's easier for everyone to call me Tess, so you will only hear me by that. But anyways, they both start with the same letter. It is T. And so I picked Throne of Glass, which was very easy. I feel like I don't even need to like talk about that one. I'm pretty sure it's been read for the podcast already.
Yes.
I read it.
Okay. Yeah, it's a Sarah J. Maas book, super popular. I'm sure everybody knows about it. It's pretty good. I'm actually still reading that series. I'm on Queen of Shadows right now, and I really like it. I talked about that on the last episode because I'm still reading it. And
I'm on Air of
Oh, you're on
Fire,
that. That one's
I think.
so
So
hard to get through. That one is really hard to get through.
That's where I quit.
I like it.
I
I
did
just
too,
like
yeah.
it just slowed way
It
way
really
down.
slowed down, and it was really hard just because she's not very strong in that one. She's working through a lot of issues, and I've heard that from a lot of other readers too, that's kind of the one that you have to like struggle through. And then I hear that again about the novella later on, the Kale, I don't know how you say his name, Kale novella.
Kale.
We'll see when I get there, because I have a hard time with books that other people struggle through. I'm usually going to struggle through them a lot. Anyways, Queen of Shadows picks up the pacing's a lot better, and I really like it so far. I'm like halfway through. Anyways.
Oh, good. Something to look forward to.
Yes,
I know.
You can do it. You can do it.
I can.
If I ever pick it back up again, I guess I'm encouraged.
Yeah, I like that one. Also, I really liked Manon in Air of Fire. She was a little strange just because she didn't have a lot of context, but she ended up being like one of my favorite characters. In that one, because I was like, okay, I'm super like Selena's storyline is kind of like depressing, but like hers, she has a dragon who's super cute. It's like this How to Train Your Dragon underdog story, but she's also like obviously a very morally gray character. So I'm like really excited because she has some more chapters, which is funny because I've heard other readers be like, I hate Manon, I don't want to read her chapters. And I'm like, can I have a whole series about Manon and her like crew of witches and the dragons, because they're great. But on to letter O. For letter O, that one was really hard. I think I only have one book on my shelf, and that is Odd Magic by Patricia McKillop. And odd is spelled just O-D, so it's not like the word odd. And honestly, I cannot remember a single thing about this book. I have like all her books, and I've read them all like at least once. But yeah, I don't remember what that one's about. I do remember that it at least has the same level of like fantasy whimsy that all of her books seem to have. And I'm sure I really liked it because I've liked literally all her books.
Interesting.
That's all.
That's it. That's all you got.
Oh, my last name, by the way, that the letter O came from is Odette. That's my last name.
I know you just have like a cool name.
It's French.
I like it.
I got it from my French grandfather.
There you go. Cool. All right, Clari.
Yeah, so the easy answer for me is I'm named after a book. I'm called Clarissa. There's a book called Clarissa, which seems somewhat apt at the moment, given that I'm trapped in a room with my parents, and that's what happens to her. Fortunately, my parents are about 12 years too late to stop me getting married. But anyway, no, I'm not going with that one. I'm just teasing you. I am choosing a book called City of Wishes by Rachel Morgan. That's actually slightly cheating. That's the series title. It's a serial, so it's published as 6 novellas, or you can get like a box set. And it's a Cinderella retelling with fae and shifters and vampires, and it's really kind of fun. And the fairy godmother,
sounds
I think,
good.
is the best character. Because the fairy godmother is morally grey. And you're like, what's she
Ooh.
doing? And she's like this, she's like the fixer. So if you have a problem that nobody else can solve and you can't do anything else about it, you go and you ask you summon the fairy godmother, and she comes. But her price is always really high, and there's always a question about, do you actually want to do it? But once you've made an agreement with the fairy godmother, then you have to go through with it.
I love that.
So-
I have the first 2 books on my Kindle actually because I was like, Cinderella retelling with Faye.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It is
cool.
cool. So that's my C one. And for G, my last name's Gosling. I mean, G, there aren't many books for G. I had to go and look through my list of books I've read on Goodreads to see which ones start with G. And the one of those I picked was Gathering of Shadows, which is the second book in Victoria Schwab's Shades of Magic series.
I thought
Okay.
that sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did you read did you read that series or no?
yeah, I've read all 3 of them. And
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
yeah, it's a fun series. And I love the coat, because he's got this coat that he turns inside out.
Yeah.
And then
the
it's a
coat is
different coat,
cool.
and he can keep turning it inside out. And there's like, who knows how many coats inside this one coat, which is kind of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, it's funny because my pick for my name
Uh-huh.
is a Victoria Schwab one,
Yeah.
Vicious, because
All
it's the only V I could think of. I was like, man, there's got to be more than that. But no, I couldn't think of anything else. After this episode, I'm probably going to like walk up to my bookshelf and see like 7 books that starts with a V, you know? But I couldn't think of any. And I do own this book, but I haven't read it. I know people really love her books, like this one and the series that Clari mentioned. But I haven't been able to get into any of her books since her first one, which is really funny because The Near Witch is more like whimsical and like fairy tale-ish and stuff. That was like not something that I was reading at that time. And these are a lot more like darker and stuff like that I am reading at this time. And and I'm like, can't get into it. I don't know what it is.
Vicious is really quite dark. As I've read that as well.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's much darker than the others. It's I haven't read much.
But
I
is
haven't
that
read
the
any
adult one?
of her early stuff. Is it
Okay.
adult? I think it's adult. Yes, I get confused.
I
don't
think
really
Vicious
pay,
is the
I
adult
don't
one.
really pay attention to.
Yeah, but that's always like when I tell people that, they're just like, wait, like, okay, but you love the books like that. I'm like, I don't know what it is. It's not like her writing is really good. I just can't get into it. I have to be like really in the mood, I guess, for it. So one of these days I will give it a try because
I think she's published a sequel to that one, hasn't she? I can't remember.
I think so.
Which
It's
possibly
like
also begins with
Vengeance
a V.
or something. Yeah. I think it's like Vengeance
Yeah.
or something like that, like a one word.
Mm.
So yay, 2 books with a V for my name, Valia.
The cool thing I heard about that book, because it's a book about, she has this whole way about how people have near-death experiences and that then gives them superpowers. And she's got this really quasi-scientific explanation in it. And I saw an interview with her once where she had an email from a reader going, is this actually true?
Yes, it is.
Yes, everybody has superpowers. So, haven't you heard about all
That's really funny though. Can you imagine like if an author was just like, let me take this full-on power and mess with this person? Like that would just be so bad because this person literally trusts the author, right? Because they're coming to them to ask this question.
Yeah, I think
That would just be
from the
crazy.
way they've raised it, there was an element of doubt, but there was a sort of, but you've put all this science in there, so there must be something right.
Wow. I mean, that's actually kind of a compliment because
Yeah.
you had to make it that believable to really make somebody doubt,
Yeah.
That's okay, fine. I'll read it. Clari's doing a little dance because I agreed. So for my last name is Lind, and this was like the easiest one for me because I read this book this year, and it's Lore by Alexandra Bracken. And you guys know I love this book, or maybe you don't know, but let me talk about it. It's Greek mythology. It's a standalone. It's fantastic. It's just so good. And yeah, I fangirl about this book all the time because I love it so much. And I love Alex's like writing in general. And I just think that she did such a great job with this book. And just, I love Greek mythology. So it was like really fun to have the combination of like already an author that I really, really enjoy having to take on something that I already love, and, you know, kind of in a new way, obviously, because everybody, that's the fun thing about books is that as writers, like, yeah, there's nothing new under the sun, but we can all take these ideas and tell them from our point of view that makes it that unique and fun experience. And that's what I had with this book, is that it was a unique and fun experience, and I love it. And I love the cover. And during the summer, I tried to get that, I think it was Owl Crate, or there was like a special edition cover for it with like golden edges and like this beautiful artwork. And I was like, literally, I set an alarm on my phone for when these books go live. And then I was like, I'm going to be there. Yeah, it sold out before they even made it available to the public.
Oh
I was so upset.
Oh.
I was like, no, but I want it. Does anybody else do that? I know Tess did that with the Court of the
Court of Silver
Flames.
Yes, thank
book
you.
box. Yeah, I like, as soon as I saw that one come out, I jumped on it because like I really wanted the cases because I don't like the covers. So I was like, give it to me now.
Yeah. And I mean, I love the Lore cover. I think it's beautiful, but I just like, this one was just so unique. And I just like, oh my gosh, I just want it so bad. And it didn't happen. And I'm not bitter. It's fine. It's been 3 months. I'm not bitter at all about it. But yeah, that was like the easiest one. But I was looking at my bookshelf, and there's so many titles that start with the. And I'm like, I can't use any of those.
And I didn't want to use that for my tea because I'm like, that's just too easy. I could literally pick like 75%
Anything.
of my books.
Yeah. So I thought that was like a fun thing to talk about. I don't know. I love the question of the day things because it's always kind of like, I don't know, makes you think about books in a different way. Or I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm just trying to say there. My brain's not working today.
I've started using Storygraph. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a bit similar to Goodreads, that you can track your books you're reading and write reviews and things. But it also has various challenges. And I'm trying to do a challenge this year to read a book that starts with every letter of the alphabet.
Oh, that's fun.
But it is. It's kind of fun. Really cool. And you can also go in and you can see what books other people have put against those letters. Things.
Oh, then they give you ideas.
Yeah, that is
I should
cool.
really have looked
so
there anyway.
Scramble for it.
Yeah, you should look at it like there.
I should have looked there.
So we need to start writing books with the letters that are more obscure, so people will read them in those challenges.
There you go. Yeah, that is a smart business move right there. That's funny. That's actually really cool. I like anytime like the Bookstagram has those like bingo cards or whatever, the challenges and stuff. Those are always really fun because sometimes some of the squares in there, I'm like, a book about what? Like, I'm sorry, like, I don't, what? And then like I get so curious that I go and like check it out and be like, oh, okay, cool. Like this talks about this or whatever. So it's really fun, like, to discover new books that way.
Yeah. Anyway, I've done...
Is it an app or is it online?
No, it's online.
Okay.
Anyway, I've done 15 letters so far, so I've done all the easy ones.
Whoa.
I've just got all of the, like, X, Y, Z, Q. Actually, Queen. There's a book called Queen or something.
Queen of Shadows?
Queen of Shadows, yeah.
Queen of Shadows, Queen of Nothing.
So, yeah. That's kind
cool.
of fun.
Is that just this year? Did you start it this year?
Yes, I did start it this year.
Okay.
Very cool. I like that. I should look into that.
It would probably take me like 3 years to do.
Yeah, it would take. I'm such a mood reader. That would be really hard for me.
Me too.
Like, I have to just, if I have an urge to read a certain book, I have to just read that book, or else. Like, I try to read books I think I should read, and that's when I get into my reading slumps, because it's starting to feel more like a chore and less like leisure. That's like when it. So I've like stopped. I've stopped making myself like, oh, this is when I told myself I'd read next. I'm like, nope. If I want to read it next, after I'm done with the other book, then that's what's gonna happen. But
except for reading Queen books, right? Because
I have
you
to read
those.
But they're fun though. I always make sure
I have to read those.
I always make sure I pick ones that I'm actually like really excited about. And here's the thing. This is what helps me get through like a book that I know I like have to read, even if I'm excited about it and it's for some reason not like the right time. I listen to an audiobook because that is a lot easier for me to, even though I do have to have a certain amount of focus, I can like just lay in bed. I can scroll on Pinterest while I'm doing it. If I'm doing an art project, I can just do my art. Like I listened to, I did an art project yesterday all day long, and I listened to the entirety of the Jane Eyre audiobook. I did listen to it on twice speed because I listened to all of my audiobooks on twice speed. So I got through like the whole book in a day just from drawing. And I finished another book. So I like listened to a lot of books yesterday. Cool. So yeah, that's my solution. So if it's something where I'm like, I have to read it next, like a lot of my Reading Queens books end up being on audio because I have a deadline and I know I can get it in if I do audio.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I guess we should talk about the next book you're reading. Yeah, so in the next episode, we're going to dive into another one of our tropes. As always, this is how it works. Each of us will pick a different book to read this week, all following the same trope, and then we reveal it next week and talk about it. So I love these, obviously. I mean, I just love the podcast in general, but I love these because we get to like really... Well, good. I'm glad I'm not holding anybody hostage here. No. But I love being able to talk tropes because it kind of, my reader heart and my writer heart get to be together in on a conversation at the same time. So these are really fun. But yeah, if you ever want to guess what kind of a trope we're talking about, you can do that on our Instagram under today's post and just, Reading Queens Pod, go on there, guess, and then maybe read one of these books with us because that would be fun. You can tag us. Yeah, definitely use the Reading Queens Pod hashtag and tag us if you're reading this with us. But yeah, anyway, Joanna, do you want to tell us what you're reading for next week?
Yep. I'm reading Shifter Island by Leah Stone and Ray Wagner.
Fun. Tess, what about you?
I'm reading Rhapsodic by Laura Talassa.
Fun. Clari?
I'm reading Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas.
Fun. And I'm reading Crown of Fire by Lindsay Hall. So yeah, I'm actually excited because all of these books have been on my TBR for a while. Obviously not the Sarah J. Maas one because I'm very behind on her series. But the other two, especially Shifter Island too, like that's been on my list for a while. So I'm very excited to talk about it. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah. Read these books with us, guys. We want to be able to talk to you about them. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But thank you for listening to Reading Queens. Before you go, please take a moment to leave us a review and then follow us on your favorite podcast platform. We greatly appreciate it. And then stay tuned for next week. Happy reading. Bye.
Bye.